Okay, let's just get right into it. Welcome back to the Deep Dive.
Glad to be here.
Today we are tackling a topic that, honestly, when I first saw it, it felt like it was ripped straight out of, a late-night infomercial
Oh,
or one of
absolutely.
those really spammy YouTube thumbnails with the giant red arrows. The headline promise in our source material today is essentially how to print money using AI.
Yeah, it does sound incredibly sensational.
It really does.
It sounds like magic buttons and effortless cash, like you just click a button on your laptop, go to the beach, and the money rolls in.
Right, which we know is never how it actually works.
Exactly. But here's the thing. We've gone through a massive stack of case studies, strategy documents, technical breakdowns for this deep dive, and what we found underneath that clickbait headline is actually, well, it's very different.
Yeah, it surprised me.
It's grounded in some very pragmatic, roll-up-your-sleeves reality.
I was totally ready to be skeptical today. I had my scam alert radar on a highest setting.
I don't blame you.
But the sources we're covering, they aren't talking about crypto schemes. They aren't talking about buying lottery tickets or some weird day trading bot.
No, not at all.
They are talking about specific business models, services, really, that capitalize on a very specific moment in time right now.
It is an arbitrage moment. That's the best way to describe it. We are seeing this massive disconnect between what the technology can actually do and what the general market understands it can do.
Right.
And historically, if you look back at the internet in the 90s or social media in the 2000s, whenever there is a gap that wide, there is serious profit to be made by the people who build the bridge.
Build the bridge. I like that. And we are going to break down 4 very specific ways to build that bridge today.
We are.
We've got the builder, the teacher, the scaler, and the community. But before we get into the actual how of those 4 models, we really have to talk about the why.
Yeah, the context is everything here.
Because there's a statistic in the research that honestly, it just stopped me in my tracks.
You're talking about the usage gap.
I am. So if you are listening to this deep dive right now, you probably use ChatGPT.
You might use Claude.
Maybe you dabble in Midjourney for images. It feels like the whole world is just completely obsessed with AI, right?
It does, every news cycle.
Every post on X. But the source material claims that 84% of the world has never used AI.
84%.
That just seems impossible to me. Are we really just living in a massive bubble?
We are absolutely living in what the source calls the Silicon Valley goggles bubble.
Silicon Valley goggles.
It's the echo chamber effect. If you work in tech, or if you're in marketing, or honestly, if you're just a curious person who listens to deep dives like this one, you just assume adoption is universal.
Right, you assume everyone knows what a prompt is.
Exactly. But the source material suggests this very simple test to shatter that illusion. They call it the blank stare test.
I love this part. It is so simple, but it is brutally effective.
It really is. Here is the challenge they lay out. Go talk to a business owner, but not a startup founder.
Right, not a 22-year-old app developer.
No, I am talking about a real-world business owner who is over the age of 35. Go find a local dentist or a plumbing contractor.
A lawyer who runs a local firm.
Or the owner of a boutique retail store downtown. Just walk up to them and ask one simple question. What is Claude?
Just that. What is Claude?
And you are not going to get a debate about the nuances of Anthropic's latest model release versus OpenAI's GPT-4.
No, you are not.
Yeah.
You are going to get a blank stare.
Absolute silence.
They might think Claude is a guy who works at the coffee shop next door.
Exactly. They might know the word ChatGPT as some buzzword they heard on the evening news, or maybe as the thing their kid uses to cheat on history essays.
Right.
But they do not know Claude. They don't know Gemini. And more importantly, they have zero clue, absolutely zero, how these tools could actually impact their bottom line.
And that blank stare, that silence when you ask that question, that is literally the sound of opportunity knocking.
Precisely. That is the gap. The distance between what these tools are capable of doing right now, which is frankly miraculous, versus what normal business people actually know they can do.
And that gap is where the money is.
It is.
So the overarching theme of today's deep dive is that you do not need to be the person who invents the AI.
No.
You don't need to be Sam Altman. You do not need a PhD in machine learning.
You just need to be the person who builds the bridge. You need to be the translator.
That is such a key distinction. We aren't doing theoretical futurology today. We aren't speculating on when artificial general intelligence will arrive and take over the power grid.
No, we're looking at 4 business models with actual concrete price tags attached to them.
Setup fees, monthly recurring revenue, the works.
But I do want to add a note of caution here right at the top.
Yeah, let's ground this.
The source uses the phrase print money, which heavily implies that it's effortless. Like you just turn on a printing press and walk away.
Right, which is never true.
It isn't. These are legitimate service-based business models. They require work, they require execution. You still have to do sales.
So no magic buttons.
No magic buttons. But the leverage, the return on your effort is significantly higher than traditional consulting because the technology is doing the heavy lifting for you.
Okay, let's unpack this roadmap. 4 models. Let's start with part 1, the builder model.
The builder.
This is the AI agent setup service.
This is likely the most direct path to revenue for someone starting out today. The core problem it solves for the client is paralysis.
Paralysis.
Yes. Business owners know they need AI, they feel the pressure, they see their competitors talking about it.
It's pure FOMO, fear of missing out.
Exactly. But when they actually log into ChatGPT, what do they see?
A blinking cursor.
A blinking cursor and a blank chat box. They type, write me a poem, it writes a poem. They type, give me a recipe for chicken, it gives a recipe.
And then they think, okay, cool trick. But how does this help me organize my warehouse inventory?
Right. How does this help me process my accounts payable invoices?
They just can't connect the dots. They see a really fun toy, not a business tool.
Because they lack the technical know-how to integrate that brain into a workflow. They don't know how to make the AI talk to their Gmail account or their CRM or their Excel spreadsheet.
So the builder model is basically stepping in and becoming a digital plumber.
Or an AI architect. You act as the bridge between their specific business problem and these powerful tools. And the absolute best part, according to our sources, is that you do not need to be a coder.
That is a massive point, and I want to drill down on this for a second, because when people hear building software or building agents, it sounds terrifying.
It implies learning Python or JavaScript.
Right. But the source mentions a tech stack involving tools like Claude, Make, and Zapier. So can we visualize this for the listener? If I am not typing lines of code, what am I actually doing as a builder?
Okay, let's do a little mental visualization. Imagine using a tool like Make, which used to be called Integromat or Zapier. When you log in, you aren't seeing a black screen with green code like in the Matrix. You are seeing a blank, white canvas. It basically looks like a digital whiteboard.
Got the canvas in my head.
In the middle of that canvas, you place a little circular bubble. That bubble is called a trigger. Let's say that trigger is new email arrives in Gmail.
Simple enough.
Then you connect a line. You are literally just drawing a line with your computer mouse from that Gmail bubble to a second bubble. And that second bubble is Claude.
So it looks exactly like a flowchart.
That is exactly what it is. Visual programming. You click open the Claude bubble and you just type instructions in plain conversational English.
What kind of instructions?
You might say, read the email from the first bubble, analyze the sentiment. If the customer sounds angry, draft a highly empathetic apology. If they sound happy, draft an email asking for a Google review.
So the coding is literally just writing out instructions the way you would to an intern.
Yes. And then you draw another line from that Claude bubble to a third bubble, let's say Slack. And you tell it, post the draft, reply to the customer service channel so a human manager can approve it.
And that is the plumbing.
Yeah.
You are building a digital pipe that carries raw data from Gmail, runs it through the brain of Claude, and spits the result into Slack.
Correct. But here is where your value as the architect really comes in. Because as we know, pipes leak.
Right.
And sometimes AI gets confused or hallucinates. So you cannot just connect point A to point B and call it a day. You have to build in what are called logic gates.
Okay, hold on. Logic gates. That suddenly sounds very technical again. Explain that to me like I'm a 5-year-old.
Think of a logic gate exactly like a bouncer at a nightclub.
Okay.
The data comes rushing down the pipe, and the bouncer is standing there with a clipboard and a checklist. Let's say an email comes in, but it is just spam.
Right, someone's selling SEO services.
The logic gate checks the data. It asks, does this email contain the word unsubscribe or guaranteed ranking? If the answer is yes, the bouncer kicks it out, the workflow stops immediately, it never even reaches Claude.
I see. So you are protecting the system from processing garbage.
Exactly. Or let's look at another example. Let's say the email is supposed to be an invoice from a contractor. The logic gate says, is there a PDF attached to this email?
And if yes?
If yes, pass it along to the finance agent to extract the total amount. If no, send it to the reply agent to automatically email the contractor back asking them to attach the file.
So your real value as a builder isn't just knowing where to drag and drop the bubbles on the screen. It is knowing how a business actually works.
Precisely. It is knowing that invoices require attachments. You are taking real-world business logic and translating it into these visual flows.
Let's walk through the actual sales process then. Let's say I decide to launch this builder business today. I go find a local business owner, let's say a real estate broker, and I ask them about Claude. They give me the blank stare. How do I actually engage them? How do I close the deal?
It always starts with a discovery call. This is usually about 30 minutes. And here is the secret trick the source emphasizes.
What is it?
You are not selling AI. You are not selling large language models or neural networks.
What am I selling?
You are selling time.
How does that conversation actually sound?
You sit down with the broker and you ask, walk me through your day. What are the specific tasks that make you groan? What are the things you do over and over again every single week where you feel like a robot?
So you are hunting for friction.
You're hunting for painful repetition. So the real estate broker might say, well, I absolutely hate sorting through inbound leads. I get 50 emails a week from Zillow.
Oh, I bet.
And 40 of them are just people with no budget, tire kickers who just want to look at houses they can't afford. But I still have to read every single email, reply to them, and try to get them on the phone to figure that out. It takes me 10 hours a week.
Bingo. There's the pain point.
So step 2 is the build. You go back to your desk and you create a custom AI agent for that single, highly specific task.
Right. You don't try to reinvent his entire brokerage.
No, you just fix the Zillow leads.
And this is where you go into Make or Zapier and do the bubbles and lines.
Exactly. You build the workflow. Trigger is new Zillow lid. Line goes to Claude. You tell Claude to analyze the budget and timeline mentioned in the email.
Then the logic gate.
Right. The logic gate asks, is the stated budget over $500,000?
And if it is,
If yes, it automatically adds them to the CRM as a hot lead and sends a text message to the broker's phone immediately so he can call them.
and if the budget is under that, or they are just browsing.
If no, the agent drafts a polite automated email saying, thanks so much for your interest. Here is a link to our public listings page. Let us know if you have questions. And then it archives the email.
You literally just saved that guy 10 hours a week.
Exactly. Then step 3 is training. You have to teach the AI agent the broker's specific voice.
Right, you don't want the email sounding like a medieval knight or a corporate robot.
Exactly. You feed it examples of his past emails. You teach it his specific criteria for what makes a quote-unquote good lead.
And then the final step.
Step 4 is handover. You turn the automation triggers on so it runs in the background 24/7. You give him a simple one-page documentation sheet, and you hand him the keys to the car.
Okay, I'm going to get very specific on the menu of services here. We just talked about lead qualification. What else are builders successfully selling right now?
The source material lists 4 use cases that sell. We covered lead qualification. The second one is customer support.
This seems like an absolute no-brainer for almost any business.
It is, but you would be shocked how many small businesses still do it entirely manually. We are talking about building an agent that handles the 80% of common repetitive questions.
What are your holiday hours? Do you have parking in the back?
Yeah.
What is your return policy?
Exactly. Humans should not be spending their time typing out answers to those questions in 2026.
It frees up the human staff to handle the complex, nuanced stuff. The angry customers, the special requests.
Exactly. What about the third use case? Content repurposing. This is absolutely huge for marketing agencies or independent creators.
How does that one work?
You take one single core asset, maybe a recording of a Zoom webinar or a podcast episode.
Or a deep dive like this one.
Right. And the agent automatically ingests that audio, transcribes it, and turns it into 10 different LinkedIn posts, a full blog article, and an email newsletter, all perfectly matching the brand's tone of voice.
I feel like we could really use that one ourselves.
You probably could.
And what is the fourth use case on the menu?
Meeting prep. This one is highly targeted at executives.
Okay.
Before a scheduled call on the calendar, the agent automatically goes out and researches every single attendee. It checks their LinkedIn profiles, pulls their company's recent press releases, scans your inbox for past email threads with them, and then it compiles a clean one-page briefing document and drops it in the executive Slack 10 minutes before the call. So they show up looking completely prepared and brilliant.
That makes you look like an absolute genius in meetings. Okay, so those are the specific products. Let's talk about the numbers, because this deep dive is about printing money. What does a builder actually get paid for this?
The economics are very attractive. The source suggests standard setup fees of $2,000 for a basic single workflow agent.
$2,000 for one workflow.
Yes. And if you are doing a more complex multi-step system like connecting a CRM to an email marketing platform, with 3 or 4 logic gates in between, you're looking at $5,000 and up.
So realistically, you land one client a month and you've got a very nice side hustle. You land two clients a month and you are replacing a full-time salary.
You are. But here is where it gets really interesting. The money printing aspect isn't just that one-time setup fee.
There's more.
It is the recurring component. The source strongly recommends always selling a maintenance package.
Wait, I have to play devil's advocate here for a second. If I am a business owner and I just paid you $5,000 to build a system, shouldn't it just work? Why on earth would I pay you a monthly fee after that? Isn't that a really hard sell?
That is a very fair question, and it is the #1 objection beginners have when trying to sell this. But you have to explain it to the client like buying a car.
A car.
You buy a brand new car, right? You pay $50,000 for it, but you still need to pay for oil changes. You still need to buy new tires. Software is inherently fragile.
How so? What breaks?
APIs change all the time. Maybe Google quietly updates their security policy on a Tuesday and suddenly your Gmail connection breaks.
Right.
Maybe the client accidentally changes their software password and forgets to tell the system. Or, honestly, what usually happens is the client changes their own internal process.
Like they move the goalposts.
Exactly. The real estate broker comes back and says, hey, the market shifted. I actually want to filter for budgets over $600,000 now, not $500,000.
So they basically need you on retainer.
Exactly. You charge them $99 to $250 a month just to keep the lights on and handle those tweaks. It is an insurance policy for them.
That is brilliant. It creates stable, predictable cash flow. You aren't constantly stressed hunting for the next meal. You are building a base.
Right.
If you have 20 clients paying $250 a month, that is $5,000 a month coming in, even if you don't build a single new agent that month.
Exactly. It turns a volatile project-based business into a stable subscription business.
Okay, that is the builder. I love that model because it's very high-touch, high-value problem solving.
It is.
But let's say you listening right now aren't the type who wants to get deep into the weeds of Zapier bubbles and logic gates. Let's say you are much better with people. That brings us to part 2, the teacher model.
The teacher model. This one focuses entirely on running AI workshops for teams. And this whole model stems from a very specific corporate inefficiency that the source calls the dusty license problem.
The dusty license problem. I have a feeling I know exactly what this looks like in the real world.
You see it everywhere right now. A company's leadership team panics because of all the AI hype. They decide we need to be innovative. So they go out and buy 500 enterprise licenses for ChatGPT or Claude Team.
They drop tens of thousands of dollars.
Easily. Then they just hand those licenses out to the employees via a mass email. Here's your login, go be productive.
And then crickets.
Crickets. Or, honestly, worse than crickets. The employees log in once. They use it to write a funny limerick for a coworker's retirement party, or they ask it a complex work question, get a generic answer, and say, well, this is stupid.
You write it off as a toy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the tools just sit there collecting dust. And 6 months later, the CFO is staring at a massive software bill asking, where is the return on investment here? Why are we paying for this?
So the workshop model is the direct cure for the dusty license.
It is the 90-minute fix. Your core value proposition to that CFO is, I will come in and in one single session, I will validate your massive software investment.
Now, I have sat through my fair share of mandatory corporate trainings.
We all have.
They can be, let's be honest, absolutely deadly boring. If someone comes into my office with a 40-slide PowerPoint about the history of large language models and neural networks, my eyes are glazing over.
100%. And the host of the source material emphasizes this very strictly. Generic intro to AI workshops are completely worthless.
They're commodity?
Exactly. You cannot charge a premium price for standing in front of a room and telling people what the letters A and I stand for. Success in this model comes entirely from specificity.
You have to niche down.
Heavily. AI for real estate agents, Claude for junior associates at corporate law firms, Mid-Journey for commercial graphic designers. When you solve a very specific person's very specific daily problem, you command premium pricing.
So walk us through the actual structure of the workshop. The source calls it a recipe. What actually happens in those 90 minutes to keep a room full of busy professionals awake and engaged?
It has to be incredibly high impact from minute 1. The first 15 minutes are critical. You call this the hook or quick wins.
Okay.
You have to understand the psychology of the room. Half the people sitting there are secretly terrified the AI is going to take their jobs. The other half are skeptics who think it's just a glorified spell checker. You have to break that tension immediately.
So no introductory slides.
No slides. You start with a magic trick.
A magic trick.
The source describes a very specific technique they call the tone mirror.
Ooh, I like the sound of that.
Yeah.
How does the tone mirror trick work?
You stand up there and ask for a brave volunteer from the audience. Let's
Yeah.
say Sarah from the HR department raises her hand. You ask Sarah to forward you a really difficult, sensitive email she has to write.
Oh, wow. Putting her on the spot.
Yes, something real. Maybe a disciplinary warning or rejecting a candidate. Something stressful. You put her draft up on the big projector screen for everyone to see.
Very high stakes right out of the gate.
The room always gets dead quiet because it's real work. Then, Liv, right in front of them, you paste her text into Claude with a very specific prompt.
What's the prompt?
You type, rewrite this email to be incredibly firm about the boundaries, but highly empathetic, using the voice of a supportive senior mentor, and you hit enter.
And the room gasps.
Every single time. Because it didn't just fix the grammar, it understood human nuance, it displayed emotional intelligence.
I read the room.
Exactly. And that is the exact moment the checkbook opens. That is the moment the skeptics realize, oh, this isn't a robot calculator. This is an incredibly smart, tireless intern.
It gets the dopamine flowing for the whole room. They see the power instantly.
Exactly. So then the next 30 minutes is what they call hands-on building. And this is critical. It is not a lecture.
So they are just watching you do more tricks.
No. Everyone has their laptop open. They are building a workflow together step by step. Active participation. If they don't actually click the buttons themselves, they won't remember it tomorrow.
That makes perfect sense. It's the difference between watching a chef on television and actually chopping the onions yourself in the kitchen.
Precisely. Then the next 30 minutes after that focuses entirely on department-specific use cases.
So tailoring it to who is in the room.
Right. If you are training the marketing team, you build marketing workflows. If you are with ops, you do ops. And then the final 15 minutes is dedicated to Q&A and actual implementation planning.
It sounds like a very tight ship. 90 minutes in and out. Who are we actually selling this to? What departments are the hungriest for this kind of training right now?
Marketing is definitely the low-hanging fruit. They are drowning in content creation, market research, campaign planning.
Always need more copy.
Exactly. Sales is also huge. Automated outreach, handling common objections, writing customized proposals. But do not overlook the operations department.
Apples? Really?
Yes, creating standard operating procedure documentation, process improvement, analyzing supply chain data, and, of course, executives. Teaching them how to use AI for high-level strategic analysis and decision support.
Okay, let's talk money again. What is the actual price tag on a highly targeted 90-minute session like that?
For a single 90-minute team session, you're typically looking at charging between $500 and $1,500.
Okay.
But if you do a full-day workshop for a whole company, maybe you rotate through the departments. 9 a.m. is marketing, 11 a.m. is sales, 1 p.m. is HR. That is a $5,000 day.
$5,000 for a single day's work. That is significant income.
It is. And again, just like the builder model, the source highlights a massive upsell opportunity here.
The recurring revenue again.
Always. You finish the workshop, everyone is super excited, but they are also secretly nervous they are going to forget everything you just taught them by next Monday. So you offer them office hours.
Like a college professor?
Exactly like that. For $2,500 a month, you provide ongoing support. You get invited to their company Slack channel to answer quick questions about prompts. You jump on a monthly Zoom call to show them the new model features that just dropped.
You become their fractional chief AI officer, essentially. Yeah. It turns a one-time event into a beautiful, recurring revenue stream. I am definitely seeing a pattern here across these models. Recurring revenue is the absolute holy grail.
It always is in any service business. It is how you sleep well at night.
Okay, so we've got the builder fixing the plumbing and the teacher training the staff.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm noticing a limitation with both of those. Both of those still require you to physically be there, right?
Yes, they do.
If you stop working, if you get sick, or if you just want to take a month off to go to Europe, the money completely stops.
Correct. You are still fundamentally trading your time for money, even if it is at a very, very high hourly rate. Your income is capped by your calendar.
So how do we escape that trap? Because I know people want scale. That leads us perfectly into Part 3, the scalar model.
The scalar.
This is the productized automation service.
This is the major mental shift from traditional consulting to building products. The mindset shifts from asking, what can I custom build for this specific client today, to asking, what system can I build once and sell twice, or 10 times, or 100 times?
The build once, sell twice philosophy. I love that.
The underlying formula here is brilliant. You find a painful, highly repetitive task in a specific niche. You automate that task completely, and then you sell the output as a done-for-you subscription service.
I'm going to need some concrete examples here. I need to see how this actually works in the wild to wrap my head around it.
The source gives 3 really powerful case studies for this. The first one is a podcast repurposing service.
Very meta for us.
Indeed.
Right.
So the service costs the client $297 a month. And the client, who is a busy podcaster, all they have to do is upload their raw, unedited audio file to a shared Google Drive folder. That is literally their only job.
They just drop the MP3 file in the folder and walk away?
Yes. That file drop is the trigger. The automation instantly takes over. It sends the audio to a transcription AI. It reads the transcript and identifies the 3 most viral hooks.
Wow.
It writes the official show notes. It drafts 5 different LinkedIn posts tailored to the platform. It writes short-form video scripts for TikTok or Reels. And it writes a full email newsletter summarizing the episode.
And it delivers all of that back to the podcaster.
Cleanly formatted in a document, usually within 24 hours.
Okay, but wait. I have to stop and ask about quality control here.
Sure.
We have all seen AI write some really weird, robotic-sounding stuff. If I am paying $300 a month, I do not want a robot hallucinating facts in my professional LinkedIn post.
And that is the absolute secret sauce of the scalar model. It is not purely AI. It relies on a concept called human in the loop, or HITL.
Human in the loop. Explain how that fits into the automation.
You build the automation to do 90% of the brute force work, the transcription, the formatting, the initial drafting. But before that final document is delivered to the client, it goes to a human being.
Okay, that makes me feel better.
Maybe it's a junior editor you hire on Upwork. They spend maybe 5 to 10 minutes reading through the AI's output. They check for obvious hallucinations. They polish the tone to make sure it sounds human. And then they are the ones who hit send to the client.
So the AI creates the rough draft in seconds, and the human just polishes it to perfection.
Exactly. And because the AI did all the heavy lifting, that one human editor can handle a massive volume of clients.
Let's run the actual math on that, because I want to see the margins.
Let's do it. You charge the client $297. The AI API costs, the literal tokens used to process the text, maybe cost you $5 a month per client.
Pennies, really.
The human editor spends maybe 1 total hour per month reviewing that client's 4 episodes. Let's say you pay that editor $20 an hour.
Okay, so $5 for AI, $20 for the human. Your total cost of goods sold is $25.
Exactly, which means your gross profit on that single client is $272 every single month.
Those margins are absolutely insane. That is software-level margins on a service business.
They are, and that is exactly why it scales so beautifully. One single person running this business, managing a couple of part-time editors, could easily handle 50, maybe even 100 clients.
That's the leverage right there. Okay, what is the second case study?
Real estate listings. This is a classic high-volume game. The price point for this service is $197 a month.
Okay, lower price, more volume.
Exactly. The value proposition to the real estate agent is simple. We will cut 3 hours of tedious work off of every single new property you list.
Real estate agents despise writing property descriptions. It's always the same words. Sunny, charming, historic fixer-upper with potential.
Exactly. So the workflow is the agent fills out a simple web form with the raw property data, 5 bedrooms, 3 baths, updated kitchen, corner lot.
Takes them 2 minutes.
The automation takes that raw data and generates a beautiful, compelling MLS description. It writes 5 social media posts optimized for Instagram and Facebook. It writes an email blast for their private buyer list. It even generates a voiceover script for a virtual tour video.
Again, you were just solving a tremendously boring problem and charging a recurring monthly fee for the relief.
Third example from the source, e-commerce catalog management. This one is $297 a month.
How does this one work?
The client simply adds their new product SKUs, basically just a list of features and manufacturer specs, to a shared Google spreadsheet.
And the AI reads the sheet.
The agent reads the sheet and creates fully optimized Amazon titles, SEO-rich bullet points, what they call A-plus content for the product descriptions, and ad copy for Facebook ads. The service agreement usually handles up to 50 new products a month.
The leverage across all three of these examples is just incredible.
Leverage is the perfect word for it. Look at it this way. In the builder model, if you have 10 clients, you have 10 separate custom setups to maintain. You have 10 times the work. Right. In the scalar model, if you go from 1 client to 10 clients, you might only have 1.1 times the work, because the central system, the factory you built, just runs the exact same process for everyone.
It is the difference between being a boutique doctor and owning an aspirin factory.
That is a perfect analogy. The doctor is strictly limited by the hours in a day. The aspirin factory can just keep churning out pills as long as there is demand.
Okay, so we have covered 3 distinct paths, but we have one more model left. And the source describes this one as the long game, part 4, the community model.
Implementation communities. This model capitalizes on a very profound truth about the internet age that took me a long time to understand.
What's that?
Information is incredibly cheap, but transformation is very expensive.
Information is cheap, transformation is expensive. Unpack that for me.
It means that you can find a tutorial on how to use Claude on YouTube right now for free. You can read all the official documentation for free.
The knowledge is everywhere.
But actually doing the work, sticking with it when it gets frustrating, troubleshooting your automation when the Zapier connection keeps failing, that is really hard. And it is lonely.
People don't just want the map. They want a local guide and a group of friends to hike the trail with them.
Exactly. They want accountability. They want to see other people succeeding. They want, quote unquote, done with you help.
So you are basically selling access to the network and your expertise.
And the shortcuts. The source outlines a very specific tiered structure for building these communities, which is pretty standard for the highly successful ones you see on platforms like School.
Let's break down those tiers. Where does a community start?
It always starts with a free tier. This is essentially your top-of-funnel lead generation. Think of a free Discord server or a basic School group. You post it on your Twitter or LinkedIn.
What happens in the free tier?
You share small wins.
No.
You post quick tips. Maybe you drop a free prompt template once a week. It serves to build trust. It proves to strangers that you actually know your stuff.
It's the classic try before you buy approach.
Exactly. Then, once they trust you, you introduce the paid tier. This usually runs between $47 and $97 a month. This is where they get access to the real goods.
What exactly are the goods in an AI community?
The biggest draw is usually a template library. People will pay $97 a month just for this alone.
Really? Just templates?
Yes, a library of pre-tested, highly optimized copy-paste prompts and make.com blueprint files. The pitch is, don't spend 10 hours figuring out how to build this customer service bot. Just download mine and install it in 3 clicks.
That saves so much time. I would pay for that.
Plus, at that tier, you usually host weekly live implementation calls. Basically, come watch me share my screen and build a new bot live for an hour, and there's direct Q&A.
This sounds perfect for the do-it-yourselfers, the people who want to learn but just want better, faster tools.
Exactly. And finally, you have the premium tier. This is the high-ticket backend, usually $297 to $497 a month.
Who is paying $500 a month?
Business owners who want extreme speed. This tier includes small group coaching. It includes done-with-you builds where you actually jump on a private Zoom, look at their screen, and fix their broken workflow for them. It includes priority support where they can text you.
The source does some interesting math here that makes this model look very appealing long-term.
The math of a paid community is compelling because of the compounding, recurring nature of it. If you spend 6 months and build up to just 100 members at the $97 level,
that is nearly $10,000 a month right there.
$9,700 in recurring revenue. And out of those 100 people, let's say 20 of them are hardcore business owners who upgrade to your $297 premium tier. That adds another nearly $6,000.
So you are at over almost $16,000 a month.
Over 15 grand a month. From simply teaching what you already know and helping people troubleshoot. But remember, the source points out that you usually arrive at this community model after you have done the others.
So it's a progression.
Yes. You start as a builder. You do the client work. You learn the ropes. You make mistakes. You get the battle scars. And then once you have real-world proof that your systems work, you transition into teaching others how to do it.
It really creates a complete closed-loop ecosystem. You have The high-ticket service, the corporate training, the scalable product, and the educational community.
And the beautiful thing is, you do not have to do all four. You just pick one.
Right. So we have laid out the entire menu for the listener. But I know exactly what someone listening to this right now is secretly thinking.
What's that?
They're saying, okay, this all sounds great on paper, but, and there is a massive but hanging in the air.
Who am I to do this?
Imposter syndrome. The loudest voice in the room. They're thinking, I am not a coder. I literally just learned what Claude was last month. I am not a tech expert.
This is undoubtedly the single biggest hurdle. It's not the tech, it's the psychology. But here's the reality check straight from the source material.
Lay it on us.
You do not need another certification. There is no official university degree for AI automation agency yet.
Right. Stanford isn't handing out diplomas for Zapier connections.
Exactly. We are completely in the Wild West right now.
The 10% rule.
Yes, the 10% rule. It states that if you know just 10% more about a topic than the person you are helping, you are an absolute expert in their eyes.
To the local plumbing contractor who has literally never opened an AI tool in his life, the person who knows how to write a structured 3-sentence prompt is basically a wizard.
Precisely. You are selling tangible results, not academic credentials. If you can build a system that saves a business owner 10 hours of miserable, boring work every single week, they do not care if you have a PhD from MIT.
They really don't.
They do not care if you learned how to do it by watching a 14-year-old on YouTube last Tuesday. They only care that they get to go home at 5 p.m. to see their kids instead of staying at the office until 8 p.m. answering emails.
So how does someone actually choose? We have laid out 4 distinct models. How do I, as a listener, know which lane is the right one for me to start in?
It ultimately comes down to your natural personality type. Let's play matchmaker for a minute.
Okay, let's do it.
If you are someone who genuinely enjoys solving complex puzzles, if you like sitting quietly at your desk with some headphones on, figuring out logic paths, connecting point A to point B, and you get that hit of dopamine when the machine finally works perfectly,
Then you are a builder.
you are a builder. You will absolutely love the agent setup model.
Okay. What if I am the opposite? What if I like being on stage, being the center of attention?
If you enjoy public speaking, if you get energy from standing in front of a room of people, if you love explaining concepts and watching the light bulb go on over someone's head, you are a teacher. Go pitch the workshops.
Makes sense. Now, what if I am, let's say, highly efficient? Or maybe just a bit lazy. I want passive income, and I absolutely do not want to be on client calls all day long.
If you value scalability and airtight systems above all else, you are a scaler. Focus entirely on building a productized service.
And finally, what if I am a pure people person? I want to build a tribe. I want to network.
Then you build the community, gather people around you and lead them.
It is really good to know there is a profitable lane for almost every personality type. But there's one final, rather urgent warning in the source material that we absolutely need to address before we wrap up.
Yes, the timing aspect.
It's about the cost of waiting.
The cost of waiting. That massive gap we talked about at the very beginning of the deep dive, the 84% of people who have never touched AI, that gap is incredibly wide right now.
It's a canyon.
But it will not stay open forever. It is closing every single day.
Eventually, the general public will catch up.
Eventually, the native tools themselves will get so easy and intuitive to use that basic setup services might not even be needed. Eventually, that blank stare you get from the plumber will turn into a nod of recognition.
Right. They'll say, oh yeah, my CRM already does that out of the box.
Exactly. So early adopters have a massive, massive advantage right now. You are essentially planting your flag in digital land that is currently completely unclaimed.
The land grab phase.
If you wait a year to start figuring this out, the landscape is going to look vastly different. The easy money will be gone.
So the absolute best time to start was the day ChatGPT launched in 2022. The second best time to start is today.
Precisely. Today.
Okay, let's bring this all home. We have covered a tremendous amount of ground. AI agent setup services, corporate training workshops, done-for-you automation products, and implementation communities.
We covered the whole map.
If you had to summarize the ultimate, for our listener, the one core takeaway they should carry with them into their week, what would that be?
I would say this. The core technology itself is incredibly impressive. We can sit around and marvel at the technical leaps of large language models all day long, but the actual business value, the money, comes entirely from application. Yes. That blank stare you get from a local business owner isn't just a sign of their ignorance. It is a direct invitation for you to step in and provide massive value. It is a vacant lot just waiting for you to build a profitable house on it.
I really love that perspective. And you don't need to try and revolutionize an entire global industry your first week. You just need to build one single agent for one client.
Run one workshop.
Automate one tiny workflow for a friend.
Just start with one.
I want to leave everyone listening with a provocative thought, something to really chew on as you go about your day today or tomorrow.
I think I know where you're going with this. Here is the challenge to the listener.
Look at your own industry today. Or, even better, look at your best friend's industry or your spouse's industry. Look at it through the lens of a complete outsider with fresh eyes.
What is the one incredibly boring, highly repetitive, soul-sucking task that everyone in that office constantly complains about?
The thing that makes them roll their eyes on a Monday morning, the task they actively procrastinate doing.
Exactly. Find that task.
Right.
Because that boring, annoying task could very likely be solved completely with a $20 monthly subscription to an AI tool and about 3 hours of initial setup in Zapier.
And when you find it, realize that it is not just a nuisance anymore. That is your next business idea.
That is your money printer.
The most boring stuff in the world is exactly where the gold is hiding right now. Thank you so much for diving deep with us today. Go out there, find your boring problem, and we will see you in the next deep dive.
See you next time.